The Hash It Out Show is brought to you by Barreto Home Solutions, Bayou Audio and Video, Hot Works on the North Shore, JFK Martial Arts in Mandeville and Covington, Black Hawk Hauling, Lil Dizzy's Cafe, Wags Food and Culture, Moe's Pizza.
Hands up, hands up. If you winning and you don't give a fuck about a hater, tell them move, 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 move. Cause I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. 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 Hands up, hands up. If you winning and you don't give a fuck about a hater, tell them move, 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 move. Cause I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning.
Welcome to the Hash It Out Show. I am your host, JB, your sports guide. Thank you for tuning in. We got a good one today. I'm joined by my co-host. You can catch him on CrescentCitySports.com, the one, the only, VK Jones. What's up, VK?
What's going on, people? It is week 1 of the high school football season. Like, tag, share, and subscribe to the Hash It Out Show on all social media platforms. We got a lot going on this week. We will talk about Jamboree highlights and then some, but we have a special guest that's going to kick it off, and a person I can say that this guy is pretty much a genius. Introduce him all. Go ahead, Jared.
Also joining us from CrescentCitySports.com, the one, the only, George Peppers. What's up, George?
What's going on, gentlemen? And yeah, I'm very excited about week one, but I want to defer before we start. I want to send out our thoughts and prayers to the folks in Florida that are facing the eye of this hurricane, Idalia, that's coming to them. So, hey, we know what y'all going through because we've gone through it, haven't we? Haven't we? So, our thoughts and our prayers go out to you. May you guys stay safe, do everything you need to do, and listen to your leaders.
Most definitely. Our special guest that's joining us today, he's a two-time state champion in football, back-to-back. Also in baseball, back-to-back. Looking to get a three-peat this year. Our special guest is the head coach of the St. Charles Catholic Comets, the one, the only, Coach Wayne Stein. Coach Stein, thank you for joining us again. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for having me.
Most definitely. Coach, I want to start off with this question. As you know, there was an injunction, and the playoff format is going back to what it was in 2021. What are your thoughts about this? How do you feel about it?
Well, first of all, I think that there's a lot of, I don't say misinformation. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. I mean, there's a lot of rumors of how the LHSA is going to handle this. I mean, if the definition of select period has never been voted on. So if that's the case, is there a split? Is the split still alive? I would say it is not. So who knows what? I do know. Eddie Bilnine takes a lot of flack, but I think he has done his best to do what's best for the kids and try to get this thing as close to back together as possible. I was disappointed in the injunction. I thought last year, although I would love to be back together, it was the closest thing to a real playoff system that we had since the split 10 years ago.
I totally agree with you, Coach. Coach, winning back-to-back state titles is great, but I want to know what makes you excited and motivated to get up and coach every day after being successful with these state championships.
Well, I think one is being around Coach Monica, and being around really the great coaches, Hank Tierney, one of them, and JT, and all of them. I've been blessed to have success in a short stint. To think of having success for 40, 50 years, I mean, the commitment and consistency that takes is really unbelievable. I think that I'm in a great place. I have one of the best jobs in the state of Louisiana, maybe in the country. I have parents that allow us to push our kids. I have an administration that allows us to push our kids. Our kids still care about St. Charles and high school football. They want to play at the next level, but they don't put anything above what's going on now. I think what keeps me motivated is I work with a bunch of people that I love working with. I have a great staff with a bunch of years of experience. I never feel like I'm going to work. I have kids that I care about, and I'm blessed to be able to, coach some of the kids of guys I went and girls I went to school with. And I always tell the kids, 2023 don't care about 2022, don't care about
Right.
2021. And I do think one thing we do here, we're ever changing. We don't do things because we never say, well, that's how we've always done it. We say, well, why are we doing this? And our kids know that we're going to evaluate how we do things daily. And, we're going to hold them to a championship standard. We've been blessed to be champions. That's not going to always happen, right? But we can always act like champions when the way we prepare.
Most definitely. You guys had a jamboree against Ponchatoula, came out on top 22-0. What were you most impressed with your team?
I was a little disappointed. I thought that there were things that we left lagging. We took the opening kickoff and had a great return. And then, we drove and we were in field goal range and took a sack, which is something we, preach. Don't be afraid to throw the ball away and get points. And then we, came out, played great for 2 plays, and then had a personal foul, which is unacceptable. And the drive kind of sustained for a little while. And then we, made them punt. And then, they tried to fake a punt. We stuffed them. And then, we hit a big pass play. And, we were just a little further along than Ponchatoula was. Out there, they got a great coaching staff. They got a lot of talent. I know because of the heat, they had been limited to the amount of days that they have been outside. Us on the other hand have found ways to to go later or go early, and so we were just a little bit further ahead. I think they got a good football team. Um, I was pleased all in all with the result, but I think there are a lot of things that we need to clean up.
The talk of a three-peat has been going around, and you just mentioned that 2023 doesn't care about 2022 and 2021, which you've told your players. But you, as a head coach, how are you able to handle with that type of hype, that type of pressure?
Yeah, I think I hope that I'm not judged by my administration on just winning championships. I hope that I'm judged on holding them to a high standard, right? And I think that I am. I'm motivated because I love this place. I want to continue to make it, big time. I think it's a big time program. I'm be honest with you. I don't think we get the credit that we deserve.
I agree with you.
Back to back champion, and the poll comes out, and we rank third. I'm disappointed in that. Fox 8 Live puts out a poll and has Shaw ranked ahead of us. So if you don't think we're listening, we don't have a chip on our shoulder. We do. And I mean, that's kind of how I live my life, always thinking that somebody's doubting us, and that's okay. Our kids are going to arise to the occasion. I think that's one thing that drives us. I have always said in both my sports that our ultimate goal was to be ranked in the top 100 in the country, not in the state, and we have not done that yet. So there are still goals left for us to attain. Hey, we hope maybe one day we get big enough to be able to play in a Catholic league. So I think if your dreams don't scare you, what are they? They're not really dreams. So we want to continue to grow. Well, we got great people here. We got great kids here. We continue to upgrade the facility, and we coach the kids that come here and try to get them better. And so I think that the way that our place is structured, that's what keeps me going. I'm not thinking about being a back-to-back champion in 2 sports. Hey, maybe one day I'll sit back and reflect on that and really realize how special that was. But right now we just continue in the grind and continue to try to stay on top. It's harder to stay on top than get on top.
Before I pass it on to VK Jones, this Friday, you guys are traveling to Marrero, Louisiana to take on the Shaw Eagles. Last year, you got the better hand of Shaw, defeating them 37-0. What are your thoughts about the Shaw Eagles team this year that you have seen on film?
Well, I don't think they have any weaknesses. I think they're so much further along at this time this year than they were at this time last year. I think last year they had started to change the culture, and they played well in the scrimmage, and they played Riverdale in the jamboree, and I think they kind of thought they were a little further along than they really were when they got to us. And that game is deceiving. I don't know if you were there.
I was
37.
there.
I mean, we blocked 2 punts. They had a lot of exchange problems between the center and the quarterback. So we're not naive to think that it was a blowout. We're aware that we were just a little further along than they were. Well, now, I mean, them playing St. Aug in a jamboree, they really pushed up their preparation, and then also seeing them in year 2, watching them in 7-on-7, they're a much improved football team in every aspect. They got good players, and they got a couple guys that came there, but their special teams is cleaner, their offensive execution is cleaner. Every single aspect of their game is far ahead of where they were a year ago.
Coach Stein, man, we appreciate you, man, joining us. It's good to see you once again. And I gotta ask you this: you lost some key players last season. Shamir Scott, Devin Sturgis, Britton Dean, Kason Gilbert, Michael Holtard, Ian Arnett, very key players, but especially the all-time winner in Aiden Altamont. But at the same time, very fortunate that you have 14 starters returning. Do you think that's a really big help that you still have experience back this season?
Definitely. And, we lost. You're right. It's hard to replace guys like that. I mean, those are program guys. Those are guys, a lot of those guys you just named, VK, are what we call glue guys. They might not be all playing college football, but to St. Charles Catholic, they were big time, and putting on the St. Charles jersey meant a lot to those guys. But we do return a large amount of guys. We have 16 guys back that played in the state championship. So, and then we have a quarterback in Brady St. Pierre who, because of injury last year, he had to play in 6 games at quarterback. So he's not brand new to the position. He's not in awe. He's a Division I pitcher. He's dominated for us on the mound. So we have a good bit of guys back that the expectation is what it is. I tell the kids each and every day, and I'm not afraid to tell anybody, it's the minute our kids get tired of being pushed, right? Because sometimes that kid is like, man, I won back-to-back championships for you, man. Leave me be. And like, we're not leaving you be here. We're going to be on you every day. There's only one way to do it right or do it over. And so if our kids continue to buy into that and allow us to push them and put them in position, then we'll have a chance to have another great season.
Looking a little bit at your offense, Skylar Edwards and Jeremiah Willis is looking to try to really step in some big shoes more than anything else. But it looks like a big help more than anything is your fullback, Jackson Monica, who returns this year. And it seems like that's a guy that could step in as the glue guy for St. Charles Catholic.
Yeah, we returned some weapons on offense. Jackson Monica is a fullback that did a lot of great things for us. Obviously, he's Ty Monica's son. He's Frank Monica's grandson. I mean, the St. Charles Catholic legacy matters to him. Our tight end, Brandon Craigle, also was a state championship pitcher. He's a 3-year starter. On the outside, Daniel Joseph, a 6'5" receiver who had a heck of a state championship game. And then in addition to those guys you just named, I mean, Brady St. Pierre, he started out last year as a safety. He played 5 to 6 games at quarterback, and at the end of the year, he was a wide receiver. So I don't think the moment's too big for him. But Skylar Edwards is an up-and-coming guy. He's a sophomore. And then Jeremiah transferred from De La Salle. He's always lived here, so he was immediately eligible. So we have some weapons. We feel comfortable that we can distribute the ball. We're going to have to protect our quarterback. We're going to have to establish the run game. And we do return 4 out of 5 guys on offensive line. In addition to that, Noah Tucker is going to be a skill piece you're going to see. He's going to wear number 0. So I don't know how we're going to be Friday, but I do think that the perspective of us being a very good offense at some point is there. I think the potential is for us to be a very explosive offense. It's going to take some time for us to realize what we're good at and what we're not, but we're not short on talent for our standards. when it comes to that.
Kyle Cannon and Andrew Bosco. I mean, they're your main stalwarts on the defensive side of the ball, and they are two big time monsters on your defensive side. Look like they're gonna be the guys that's gonna take the charge for the defense this season for St. Charles.
Yeah, it starts with Kyle Cannon. He's a 3-year starter, and then it also starts with our outside linebacker Jaden Bro, another 3-year starter who a lot of people don't know the storyline. He had a litany of concussions and did a litany of tests. And when we hit our rough patch last year, a lot of people alluded to Aiden Althamo, but Jaden Bro returned week 10 in Newman, and it kind of rejuvenated our defense. We started to play at a different level. So we returned some good guys on defense. We talk about Kyle Cannon and Andrew Bosco, who they don't only make plays, they are the brains of this operation. Jaden Bro is a 3-year starter. Matt Loop on the interior is a 3-year starter. Shane Zimmerman returns at defensive end, and then Hudson Helps played a bunch last year as well. So we feel good about our front six. Our secondary is, Rashawn Hilaire, who played star for us last year as a sophomore, made a bunch of big plays. He returns. Caden Calm returns at corner. Braden Bertucci returns at safety. Logan Barrios, who played a lot in nickel and dime packages, he's back. And then one of our kids who started for us 2 years ago, who was given another year of eligibility by the LHSA, Caden Foster, he returns at the other corner. So he was our best corner in 2021, had a liver transplant last year. And was able to finish his senior year, and he was granted another year. So that's a heck of a story.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Gotta before I ask you this question and this last question before I get to George Peppers, last season I know it was the fact that you made the biggest shocking announcement, shocked me when you announced your resignation as the baseball coach and everything. But also you offered me an invitation, and I appreciated that. On September 19th, I will be speaking at the St. Charles Catholic Quarterback Club meeting on Tuesday, September 19th. So I'm looking forward to it. I didn't forget. I will make sure I send you a bio by next week. I promise you that. But I'm looking forward to speak in front of in front of the St. Charles Catholic community and the community of LaPlace. It's gonna be unbelievable, and I appreciate the invitation.
We're looking forward to it, VK. That's actually, I was in a rush. We had a meeting up to this point, and I'm still in the Commons doing this podcast as we speak.
I see that you got the awards in the background.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to ask you this about the resignation. How it's been with the transition, calling it quits and being full-time, full-bore football, because we seen you at the prep luncheon and we see that ring and it's like, my goodness, man, I'm like, look like he ready to go. But I wanted to ask you how it was with the transition of getting out of baseball and now full-bore football.
It's been a good transition, but for more than anything, it gave me a chance to be a dad, VK. I didn't feel like I had more time off this summer, but at least the time I was spending, I was at my children's swim meet or at their travel baseball game or whatever it may be. So that's the big deal. But I can tell you, I'm excited where we are. All my attention now is on, football and the athletics of St. Charles, and how we can continue to grow and change. And so we have a bunch of things happening, a bunch of improvements happening. Ty Monica is going to do a phenomenal job in the baseball. He's already started to improve things. Or it looks, the dugouts are finally up and improved, and the cage and things have been changed. So we share a vision of making this place look like the product that our kids put on the field. Our kids put big time things on the field, and we want the facility to match the effort and the production that they put. So I am as excited as an AD about what he's going to bring to baseball as I was as a coach. I am looking forward to whenever that off season is, to be able to make sure that I got all my T's crossed and my I's dotted and all of that stuff for football, because sometimes I hate to say it, but you're just flying by the seat of your pants. I loved baseball. I never thought about football during baseball. I never thought about baseball during football. And that's great and all, but there are things that need to get done during those two respective seasons. So I think that I can give my full attention. And I know it didn't show on the field because we won, but there were things that I needed to improve. So maybe not everybody can admit that, but I can. And I care about St. Charles Catholic, and I think that was the best decision for this athletic program. And I know the right guy has the baseball job.
And I tell you, man, you talked about family time. We talked about that as well. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm having my moments too with my daughter, man. So it's really cool, and it's good to be myself personally. It's good to be a dad again, and sometimes it's good when you push things to the side and do what you got to do for your children. So I really admire that. Keep on keeping on. I know you got I don't know. I don't want to ask you how many you have. Well, regardless, I know you're taking care of them. So you keep on doing what you're doing, Coach. George
I
Peppers.
appreciate it.
Hey, Coach. First of all, thank you for taking the time to joining us. Obviously, busy in preparation to your game Friday at Shaw. I want to ask you though. First off, let me just say this: Louisiana summers stink, but this summer has been absolutely ridiculous with the consecutive 100-degree heat. What have you guys done, and how have you guys adjusted to the unprecedented heat wave that we've experienced? Now, granted, we've had rain here the last couple of days, but how have you guys adjusted to this crazy heat?
Well, it's been a variety of things. So luckily, we don't start school first week of August like a lot of people. So we were able to go in the mornings for a large part of what we call camp. And then we just every week has been a little bit different story, George. So the first week, we would get out of school about 2:45, and I would wait till 4:15 to go out there. Now, 4:15 to 5:15 was probably still brutal, but 5:15 to 6:15 it was a definite difference. So we were able to get out there, and then last week we did adjustments like we would go out there. We did the first 30 minutes with helmets and shoulder pads. We'd take the shoulder pads off and do the next 40 minutes with just helmets. We'd put the pads back on to do a little team session, and then our walkthrough, we'd take the helmets off and leave the pads. Because no matter what, look, coaches are smart. I think they're taking care of their kids, but you got to get acclimated to it. The only way you can get acclimated to it is to be in it. And I think that
Yep.
get all of the parameters, and I think that we're all more educated than we were 20 years ago about heat and things of that nature. But if you never go out in that heat and then you try to go play 60 snaps versus Shaw, what's more dangerous? I mean, so I think you do have to expose your kids a little bit to it. We take a 4-minute water break every 20 minutes. Things that I thought I'd never do, but you do what you got to do. And my trainer works in conjunction with me to make sure that we're doing our best to keep them safe. And so far, so good. We haven't had any heat related illnesses.
Which is a great thing, and considering how bad the heat has been. But next question, it's last year you guys obviously won your second straight state title, but you mentioned that the schedule really wore you down last year, but you still found a way to persevere and win it. Preparation wise this year, what's changed for you guys? I mean, obviously people say stay with the status quo, but and especially considering how rugged the schedule is early, you get Shaw, you get Turlings, De La Salle, it seems like that Lutcha. I mean, those are not gimmies by any stretch of the imagination. Preparation wise, in reference to how you guys were able to condition yourselves, what's changed this year as compared to last?
Well, I think one thing that we learned from last season was we're trying to get more guys ready. I think maybe last year, being a 2A school, you get your 12 to 13 guys ready on both sides the ball, and you feel like you're okay. And then when you hit the injury bug like we had last year, I mean, we played St. Martinville week 7 without 9 starters. That's just unheard of in high school football, especially 2A high school football. As I tell everybody, don't let the 114 kids running out the paper fool you. We playing 35 guys, right? For the most part, 35, 40 guys are playing on Friday night. So what we learned is, what? We got to make sure that we got guys that maybe aren't starters. We got to get them more involved in the game plan. We got to make sure that mentally they're ready. because what happened a lot to us was it wasn't maybe that kid wasn't physically good enough to play. He wasn't far enough mentally. So maybe we had to simplify our offense or simplify our defense. So those parameters and just I think being prepared, physically in the weight room, and then you have to be smart. You just hit it on the head. I mean, it's not the old days where we haven't went full pads in 2 years. You know, we learn how to practice in uppers. We think it helps you practice on your feet. If you want to really get yelled at a St. Charles Catholic practice, end up on the ground. Because that's when people get hurt. You get rolled up on, or I've seen broken legs or ACLs. It's not from going live contact. So I think you learn that more is not always more. I got on my kids today. I like to practice 2 hours on a dot, including breaks and special teams and stretch. And because we had to make some corrections, we practiced for 2 hours and 13 minutes. I told them that was unacceptable. So there are parameters of things that maybe 10 years ago, me and Coach Monica thought we should practice for 3 hours, and that's what we did. That we've changed because we're going to have to be able to handle the wear and tear of that schedule.
Key component for any team to have success. I mean, people talk about offense, defense, but it's always about special teams. And you guys have a really strong group of kicker and a punter, Tyler Miliotto and Braden Bertucci. Uh, Miliotto hit a couple of very big kicks as a freshman last year, especially one against Dunham in the state championship game. And Bertucci, I've seen you mention in past interviews that he could be a guy that could play and that could punt at the Division One level. How have they progressed from last year to this year?
They've just continued to grow as even bigger weapons. Last year, Tyler Miliotto, he was basically a place kicker only, and he didn't handle the kickoff duties. Now he's progressed to being our, pretty much jack of all trades in the kicking game. So he's gotten stronger and better. Braden Bertucci, he's just a fine specimen. He's not only our safety, but he's a left-footed punter who can really boom it, and he's a weapon. I mean, he can boom the ball 50, 60 yards in the air. And I think he knows now that his role is such important. We've been so good on defense for a long time here. The statistics of somebody driving a ball 90 yards or whatever it may be, it's rare, especially against us. So we understand that special teams for us is our livelihood. We don't use it as a team, an opportunity to just play guys or get them a chance to letter. When you look at our special teams, it's our starters, it's our best people. And I think that it's not. Coach Monica taught us this. It's not that our scheme's better than everybody else's. It's just that when we do special teams at St. Charles, everything stops. We don't let somebody go. We don't let the offensive line go work or anybody go work. Everything stops. All hands are on deck as coaches. Everybody's involved. Nothing's more important than this. And I think that is really what makes our special teams what they are.
Now let's head to this week. Jared mentioned it earlier. I want to touch on it a little bit more. The game against Shaw on the road. Beat that team 37-0. As you said, it was a deceptive game because there was a couple of mistakes that really snowballed Archbishop Shaw in that game. I think it's more of a testament to what you guys do defensively that really frustrate a lot of good teams. Kids are going to be kids, and they see 37-0. They're thinking, okay, we're going to get them again. What have you done this week to get them mentally focused to go against Shaw, who looks much improved from last year, and is a team that can do a lot of damage in whatever bracket they get placed? What have you done this week, preparation wise, to this point to get your kids focused on, hey, forget last year, it's 2023?
Yeah, we really 2023, and I hope that we follow this. We really talk about us a lot. I mean, we prepare our kids for what they're gonna see from Shaw, but we also talk about it's about what we do. It's about making sure we take care of things. Our kids are pretty. What's the word? They kind of know what's going on. They when they watch a film, they can see the running back and that it's different, right? Or they had a great running back last year, and they can see the 6'5" receiver, and so they know what they're looking at. They know what problems that could be posed for them as well. But we're really trying to focus on let's control what we control. Let's make sure that we're assignment sound. Let's make sure that we're in position to make tackles, and then let's find a way to get in the fourth quarter and find a way to pull it off. Try not to get into uh, too much of it's us versus Shaw and things of that nature. Our kids know there's a target on their back. Uh, they're aware it's the WWL game of the week, it's the Fox 8 game of the week, it's on VSN, and they know why. They know why it's like that, and they don't feel like it's to see St. Charles. They feel like it's to see Shaw. So they'll be prepared. That's all I can promise you. I don't know what the outcome's going to be. We know we're not going to sneak up on anybody. Nobody's going to sneak up on us. I think it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a great atmosphere. And it's a game that me and Coach Tierney have committed to hopefully do forever, until to play week one for as long as we're both at the prospective schools. We think we're a lot alike. I think River Parish kids are a lot like the West Bank kid. And so
Mhm.
we're a like school, and we hope that we can continue to keep this thing going and be a competitive matchup for a long time.
Last question before I turn it back over to Jared. The River Parishes had great success last year. Lutcher, you guys, Destrehan, teams like that, they all won titles. Uh, what is the modium for this year around the River Parishes? I think more or less expectations. Lutcher is replacing people. Destrehan, same. You guys as well. Do you think that the River Parishes can be represented again when we get to December in New Orleans?
I definitely think so. I think the River is football is king, right? And the kids know what to expect, and I think the coaches, there's great coaching in the River Parishes. And don't be surprised if there's somebody that you didn't name. I just think that Riverside is going to be really good. Lee Russell is a great buddy of mine, is getting that thing and going back in the right direction. And St. James, Levante Davis does a great job over there, and Daniel Luquette at Hornville. And then Deron Thomas just took over West St. John. So I think in addition to and look, Brandon Brown and East St. John, they were a play away from beating Destrehan last year. So the River's the River. I'm a proud River Parish person, right? I've lived here my whole life. I'm born and raised in Garyville, Louisiana, and I don't pull against the River. I wish we would play each other in the first 5 weeks of the season. It'd be exciting. We'd all make a bunch of money, and that's what the people want to see in this day and age with social media. And you're not going to a game unless it's really something that you want to see, and people want to see River Parish schools play each other. So we've been talking and maybe even trying to get the jamboree back. So it's been good, but I think the River parishes are as good this year as they've ever been.
I was just about to ask you about getting the River Parish Jamboree back with Destrehan, Hornville, St. Charles, Lutcher, St. James. I really believe that not having it right now is a big miss, and I would love for it to come back. I think you can get 6 teams every year and have a big jamboree.
Right. And I think that's the plan. We're going to try to set a meeting and talk about it. I actually have an 8-year plan proposed where we can rotate the sites. But my other idea would be, okay, if we don't want to play each other, let's take our 8 River Parish teams and let's do a River versus the Catholic League jamboree or something like that. Something that draws interest. Something that, it's a jamboree, man. If you lose it, it don't matter on PowerPoints.
Right.
The goal is to get better. The goal of the jamboree is the first time we punted on Friday, 12 guys ran out there. We got to make that fixed. First time they punted, 12 guys ran out there. So it's about making money. It's a dress rehearsal. You hope to stay healthy, but you want it to gain some interest, and so somewhere along the line we lost that. I'm not blaming any one person or one school, but I'd love to see us try to bring that thing back together or have some format where we can promote the River and be proud of being in the River.
I'll say this before I pass it to VK. You just said different sites in the river parishes. East St. John just held a jamboree with Edna Carr, Warren Easton, McDonough 35, John F. Kennedy. So East St. John can hold it. St. Charles Catholic can hold it also, and St. James most definitely. I wanted to come back because I have family in the river parishes, especially Booty and Luling, and it was something I used to go to all the time. So I wanted to come back.
Yeah, I remember as a kid, and I remember as a coach. Just if we played on Friday, I went and watched the games on Thursday, and vice versa. And I get it. Sometimes there's some matchup things that people don't want to see or do, but us and Lutcher last year played in the regular season, and we're gonna play again. And we made over $20,000. You're just not making that kind of money anymore. And people are not, because of social media and because of live stream. You only go into a game you really want to see, that you really want to be in the atmosphere. And I don't think we're doing enough to create those games and atmospheres for our kids. And I think those games prepare you for the playoffs because there is extra pressure because there's bragging rights and things like that. Social media and adults get in the way because of all the nitpicking and stuff. But I truly believe the coaches and the kids want to play against each other and compete.
Coach, I gotta ask you this one last one before Jared close things out with you. Your senior class, man. Your senior class has a big opportunity here, and they have an opportunity. We know Altamont, all them guys from last year. They were the winning senior class in the history of St. Charles. This senior class could top it if they three-peat. What do you think what's on the mind of your seniors? Do they think that they really want to try to become the all-time winning class?
I think they do, but sometimes winning you get spoiled. I mean, our seniors, most of them came here in 8th grade. They've never not finished the season in the state championship. You know, the 8th grade year we lost in the state championship. The 9th grade year we lost in the state championship, and then the 10th and 11th grade year we won the state championship. So they're spoiled in a way. We tell them that, and so we really always fighting to, hey, remember the feeling. And it's hard for us to remember it because it's a lot of the same guys in football and baseball. And sometimes they think we're just going to win because we're St. Charles. Winning is hard, right? It's never easy. We have the talent to do it. I think they love each other. What I was getting on them about today is they have to correct one another in a positive manner. If a brawl broke out, they would all fight for one another. But I say if somebody was about to do something wrong that it could affect the team, would you correct it? Would you stop him? Those are the things that they're gonna have to. Those are the skills that they're gonna have to have. Last year, our seniors were talented, but maybe not as talented as this senior group, but had high character and weren't afraid to tell you, hey, we got to get this right. This isn't St. Charles football or this isn't St. Charles baseball. I'm not saying that our group now doesn't have that, but that to me is what's going to give us an opportunity. Either going to say, hey, we are a contender again, or we're just another football team.
Coach Wayne Stein, thank you for joining us. Best of luck throughout the season. Good luck on Friday night. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, not as if it's sarcasm like you need it. Really, good luck. And I'll be looking for you Friday night at Archbishop Shaw.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate you remembering saying you were going to have me on, and I appreciate you guys for having me on. Thank y'all, and God bless.
Yes, sir.
And hopefully we'll have you down the line on the Hash It Out Game of the Week.
Appreciate it, guys.
All right. Coach Wayne Stein of the St. Charles Catholic College. So, guys, before we get into jamboree talks of some of the games we saw, let's talk about St. Charles right quick. Once again, people are overlooking St. Charles Catholic. And I can tell you Shaw's not. That for sure. But they're not getting the type of talk about they can run the tables again. They can go for a three-peat. You're not hearing that. So when you hear Coach Stein say we have a little chip on our shoulder because we're not ranked number 1 or 2 in the polls and this and that, I kind of get it. I understand it. Now, St. Charles Catholic, think about it, don't have the talent like a Lutcher or St. Martinville, but they have the right coach that can push the right buttons and that knows how to motivate his kids to play at their best potential. And it shows because this guy has won 2 state titles back-to-back. And not only saying that, he won two baseball titles back-to-back also. He has 4 titles in 2 years. So he knows how to get the best out of his players. George Peppers, I pass it to you.
As far as what I think they'll be, look, listen, I know the preseason poll came out, and they're third, and thinking You know what they're thinking? What more do we have to do to get to number one? Usually the champion gets a pass and gets put in that top spot. But evidently, the sports writers are like, they're not really crapping on St. Charles. I'm not saying that, but they're like, they can't possibly do it again. That's probably the mindset that they have. Um, for me, though, I'll never underestimate Wayne Stein. I did that 2 years ago when they took on Lafayette Christian at Yeoman. And what happened? VK ate my lunch that day. He had me for lunch that day because I ran the mouth. I went off at the mouth, and I thought LC was just going to be too potent, too tough. And St. Charles said, "Okay, I see that pretty offense of yours." Ding! They put the bell on him and whipped him soundly. Um, the schedule, though, Jared, is going to be rugged again. Those first 5 games are
Oh,
going to be just look at them. You got De La Salle, Lutcha, U High, Shaw Friday night. Look, say what you want about what happened to Shaw Friday, and I know we'll get into that in a little bit. But St. Charles is going to be every bit the formidable team. To the people listening, if y'all sleep on this Comets team, don't. They're going to be around. Are they going to win it? I don't know. None of us know. I mean, none of us are Nostradamus. Do I think we have? I mean, do I think they have a legit chance? Absolutely. I can't imagine a scenario where St. Charles isn't into the semis at the very worst. I think this is a team that can get back VK and be in the dome when we convene there for state championship weekend. Now, what format? Lord help us get this thing resolved and give us what we had last year. I'm saying it, but VK, even if St. Charles is going to be one of those teams you better put in the mix.
Absolutely. They should be in the mix more than anything else. And the way things are looking, you know what it is. And I like the way Coach Stein is talking. And my theory is you got to take it like the New Orleans Saints in 2009 when they won the Super Bowl. They was right there under the radar. Nobody was seeing them coming. And they still thinking for St. Charles. That's good enough. Keep them under. People don't understand. St. Charles had 14 starters return. 14 from a 2-time state championship team. That's a lot. But I ain't gonna lie, this is probably gonna be their toughest year if they're gonna try, because that schedule is tough, and you got some improving teams like University Lab. I wouldn't be surprised Dunham is gonna be back. That pushed St. Charles to the limit. Lake Charles College Prep. They got some really good teams in that division if it comes back to that. But it's going to be tougher for them this year. But St. Charles, they have a great chance of getting back and a great chance to three-peat.
we thank y'all for watching the Hash It Out show. We got 2 commercials to run, so stick with us. We'll be right back with some jamboree talk from last week.
Hands up, hands up. If you winning and you don't give a fuck about a hater, tell them move. Move, move, move. Cause I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. 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 Hands up, hands up. If you winning and you don't give a fuck about a hater, tell them move. Move, move, move. Cause I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning.
Welcome back to the Hash It Out Show. I'm your host, JB, your sports guy, joined by my partners in crime, VK Jones and George Peppers. Thank you to all our sponsors, Barreto Home Solutions, Bayou Audio and Video, Hot Works on the North Shore, JFK Martial Arts in Mandeville and Covington, Black Hawk Hauling, Lil Dizzy Cafe, Wags Food and Culture, Moe's Pizza, and to everyone who also donated. The Hash It Out Game of the Week this Friday pits the Covington Lions against the John Everett Patriots in Covington, Louisiana at Jack Salter Stadium. VK Jones and George Peppers will have to call. You can catch the game on tsbnsports.com. VK, you got something to say about the game of the week? Well, the Hash It Out Show game of the week.
Yes, very excited to bring this to you. George Peppers was the main person who really put that to our attention. And so far, we have really put together a potential winning team this week. Like, we got to crawl before we walk. We're excited for week one. We're getting everything together. We're going to go a little old school this week for week one. We got to crawl before we walk. But next week, it's going to get better and better and better. I want you to tune in Friday. We're going to kick off our pregame at 6:30 on TSBN Sports. We're going to have it set up that all three of us will be on the air. It'll be audio only on TSBN. We'll have graphics, all that good stuff. We want you to follow along. About a week, we'll be doing video version of pregame at 6:30. It will be the Hash It Out countdown to kickoff at 6:30 with our game Friday night, Covington and John Everett. I'm very, very excited to be calling the game. Actually, I'll be doing the pregame and the color commentary. George Peppers will be making his, now I'm not saying this is his debut, but his debut doing play-by-play for Hash It Out, because me and George is going to rotate it out each week. So, George, are you excited for Friday, my friend?
We're a family show, and I know how to answer it, but I'm not going to answer it that way. I'm just glad that this has come to fruition. That when I presented this idea 2 months ago, you guys have really put the work in, and those commercials, man. Jared, hey bro, I got to give you mad props, dude, for putting them
Thank you.
spots though and doing that. You understand what we got, and it's a beautiful thing. But I get to call my alma mater in a football game. I did it 2 years ago when they played Shaw for another network, but that network never took off. This one is. I feel every bit of confidence that this network is going to be everything that we want. And Eric Covington is our not debut PK. I could call it our return. You know, uh,
Yes.
play by play wise, because between the two of us, and this is not slighting Jared in the least, but the two of us have done play by play a lot, and we're now going to do it extensively over these 10 weeks plus 4 in the playoffs. Look, we will seed the Superdome because it's obvious. I mean, our employers, QuestCitySports.com, Nash 1061, have all games. How many? 8 or 9. I don't even know. But the opportunity to call my alma mater against Covington is exciting. And yeah, there's gonna be a little bit of bugs as far as nerves or whatever. Yeah, there's a little bit of that. I'm not gonna lie to you. Because we're tapping into this audience, and we want you guys to listen in Friday night on TSBN.com. You're gonna hear and look. I am a proud alumnus of John Aaron, and I'm gonna I'm gonna use a wrestling thing because Jared does a wrestling show. There was an old referee on ECW named Bill Alfonso, and I'm gonna use that for Eric Covington Friday night. I'm gonna call this game right down the middle, but I can't do it without you, VK, because you're gonna be my right hand man. We the tag. We are. I don't know. Are we the Usos? I don't know what tag team are we. I don't even know yet. We're gonna have to figure that part out.
I'm like this. We the world's greatest prep tag team in the state of
Best 6-man
Louisiana,
team. There we go.
and that's right, 6 man. That's right. We gonna take over. We gonna be the trios champions of the
There you
LHSAA.
go.
You know what I'm saying? So that is all to the good. But If Corday Hankton, here's the thing, Corday. You the thing with YouTube, Facebook, and stuff, we're gonna try and get that rolling next Friday on pregame. It's gonna be pregame only when we do that.
Hmm.
It's gonna be audio only on tsbnsports.com. We'll have graphics and all that stuff. It's gonna look professional as I don't know what, regardless when you look at the site. So it's gonna be all to the good. But we're gonna look like college game day in about a week. But we're gonna go the old school this
Oh,
week. You know what I'm saying? So I'm
So
excited
Jared,
about
yes,
it.
question. Jared,
let me answer.
question.
Let me answer Coach Hankton right quick first.
All
Coach
right, you
Hankton.
got that.
So yes, Coach Hankton. This Friday, no YouTube. Everything is on tsbnsports.com. tsbnsports.com. Pre-game starts at 6:30. Thank you, Coach Hankton. Go ahead, GP.
Now, because me and BK can't pick the game of the week tomorrow night when we do
I'm
our
not
perfect
picking.
game,
We'll
hold
we'll
on.
talk. We'll talk about it. I'm not gonna pick it though.
You're not picking it. You're not.
Nope.
You're not calling the game. Here's
I
my
know.
suggestion. Just hear me out. We were gonna get two mascot heads. Do it like college game day. Well, we're gonna call it prep game day. You know, and me since me and BK are gonna be calling the game, and we're the Kirk Streets of the one. We can't. You know, we can't pick the game, but you can.
Okay, I'll tell you this.
All
I'll
right.
pick it. I'll pick
All
it.
right.
But as far as our competition of the picks, I won't count it towards that. That's fair.
Oh wow. Okay.
That
All right,
sounds
That's
there we
good to
go.
me.
fine by me, baby. It's all good.
E- Even we had the 3-man weave. So far, we got 8 games booked. We're trying to get 2 more booked. And Jared will join us right now for at least 2 games. Hopefully 3, hopefully 4. We'll see.
Yep.
He's definitely joining us for week
That's
5,
definite. Week 5 is
which would
definite.
be
Yeah.
which which would be John Eric
Warren
versus
Easton.
Warren
Yeah.
Easton.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. All right. All right.
Let's
Coach
move
Mo
on.
say, Coach so Coach Mo say, send him some gear. Coach Hankton, send him some gear. All right. Um, DJ13 says, what 35 game we're doing? Hey, we got to get 2 more games, so we might get a 35 game. We'll see. We'll see. All right, but let's get to these jamborees now. And I want to start with the Hornville Jamboree first. And I want to start with South Plaquemines taking on Booker T. Washington. And I'm going to say this. I thought Booker T. Washington would win, which they did. They did win, but it wasn't dominant. Both defenses couldn't stop each other. And to say that South Plaquemine was able to move the ball on Booker T. Washington, who's a higher class by 2 classes, I think, 4A to 2A, was pretty impressive to me. Coach Lyle Feet and his team able to move the ball was impressive. I really thought they would have a tough time, but they were impressive. Booker T, to me, they won, but not as impressive because I thought they should have been more dominant against the South Plaquemines team. That didn't happen. So I'm kind of impressed with Coach Lyle Feet, who we will have on the show tomorrow night. Coach Lyle Feet will be our guest. So I'm kind of impressed with South Plaquemines. VK, you was there. What you thought?
I wasn't surprised. I said it myself about South Plaquemines that I picked them to win it, but it came up a point short. It was just the fact I said it myself that South Plaquemines, multiple starters returning. Experience means a lot, and it showed on that field. They didn't just move the ball; they had opportunities to win, and they just had a couple of little misplays. But they know that this is a team that's going to be record. And even 4 players did not play. They was
Yeah,
injured.
offensive
So with
starters.
them
Yep.
coming back, that's going to make them more scarier than it is. The big test comes for South Plaquemines this Friday against Bell
No.
Shakes.
Next week they
That's
got Mamou.
what it.
They go to Mamou this week.
Oh, that's interesting because they usually battle
That's
in week
right. This week
1.
2 this year.
That's a
Yeah.
big change. That's a big change. But I think it could be a winnable game. And I think that Coach Feet said, even in interviews and even afterwards, and it's good to see him trying to stay within the course to get that program back up to snuff. He said it himself that we got to
Yep.
dominate. We got to do better than we did. We got to dominate, and that's what they got to do because they know they're gonna have to really go all out. It's a program that's like a 1A 2A program, but their roster was a little bit they have a little more kids this year than
Yeah,
people think they
yeah.
have, and they really hung in there. They got a lot of heart, but they got some size too, some nice size for that team. So I tell you one thing, South Plaquemines is going to be something to possibly reckon with this
George,
season.
any input you want to put in for the South Plaquemines or Booker T. Washington?
Surely, the fact that South Plaquemines played that game close, and yeah, I picked the Hurricanes last week too, like VK. Maybe that's why they lost because of that gree. I'm kidding. Um, but let's talk about Booker T. Washington. Everybody gets zoned in on the fact that they lost their alpha dog Arnold Barnes, but they do bring back 14 starters off last year's team. So, are we surprised that Booker T won that game? No, even though it was on the road, correct? It was at South Plaque.
At
All right.
Hornville. Played at Hornville.
At
No,
Hornville.
no,
I'm
no, it was
sorry,
at
that was in the
Houndville.
Hornville. That's right. That was an add-on game for the Jamboree in Hornville.
Yeah.
All right. What does that portend for the future for the season? I am more. I'm going to buy into the Hurricanes more than I am the Lions because they were able to go toe to toe with those dudes who are two classes above them, and they were able to, and they had shots to win. Like BK said, there was some execution stuff that they missed late that could have got them the result. But again, it's a jamboree, so you temper that. Um, but I think the Hurricanes, whatever class they're going to fall into with this injunction that we hope gets clarified at some point this year, we needed to. I think the Hurricanes are a championship caliber team. I really, really do, and I think Lyle Feet. I can't wait to talk to him and really pick his brain about where he feels about what he feels about this team going forward. I think they got a shot to be really, really good.
I agree with you. The other game was the West Jefferson Buccaneers against the Hornville Tigers. And, Hornville hasn't been what it has been recently. But I thought Hornville would strictly dominate West Jeff, and Hornville struggled. Hornville won 14-6, but they struggled against West Jeff. And West Jeff had opportunities. Coach Carlos Holmes is trying to, find an identity for his team. He went forward on fourth down twice deep in his territory, and me and VK was like, but maybe he just didn't care because it's a jamboree. Maybe he just didn't care. Let's see what we got. But West Jeff defense was shockingly good. Shockingly good. And I think that defense will improve. They just need to get work on the offense. Their big play receiver, Sean Nicholas, I don't think even a pass went to him. That was shocking. So, we talked to Coach Holmes. They got some things to work on. But defense impressed me from West Jeff. Hornville, on the other hand, they won, but I thought it'd be dominant, and that didn't happen. So Hornville still got some work to do offensively on that side of the ball. Defense, too. Could be something against St. James. VK.
Man, I gotta tell you, you came to the light, my brother. You came to the light. You seeing what I'm seeing, dude. You know what I'm saying? It's just a fact that West Jeff, we said before they hit that defense, I said, good Lord, they're small. But then all of a sudden, this small defense got speed and they quick and they hit the gaps, they
What's up,
make the
Trey Hughes?
tackles, and and there's a lot of game tackling, but at the same time, they're making plays. And I'll tell you one thing, that defense of West Jet is going to keep them in a lot of games. The thing they got to work on is offensive consistency. That's the biggest thing Coach Holmes and company going to have to do. Offensive consistency and, most importantly, urgency.
Yes. Yes.
Under 2 minutes left in the first half, West Jet makes a huge defensive stop, and then they tackled the punter because he fumbled it. So all of a sudden, what does West Jeff do? And it's under 2 minutes. They run the ball. They didn't go down the field. I'm like, what is going on here? The one thing they're gonna have to work on for West Jeff is urgency, because they're gonna need that, especially in a tight game, and especially if they have the opportunity for a lead or a win. The biggest thing to Carlos Holmes, and I'm not putting on the coaching staff of West Jeff, I think they're doing everything possible to prepare the Bucks. But if the Bucks are going to be relevant again in Jefferson Parish, they gotta learn how to win, and they gotta use urgency to do it.
George Peppers, your input quickly.
Input quickly. Listen, West Jefferson is going to struggle. They are going to struggle offensively. Why? They don't have an identity. And I think when you talk about situational football, going for it twice deep and running it without and running inside the 2 minute warning, it's a jamboree, and I get the experimentation, but you got to simulate a game situation, a live game situation, and show a little bit more urgency. Jamborees, at some point, you can experiment, but you got to be urgent. The defense, as you mentioned, is going to be good. They get a very acid test this week at St. Paul to open up West Jeff. But this is an indictment on Harville. That's what this game is. This has to be an indictment on Harville. Yes, they won, but come on now. Uh, an old Harville would have smashed them, beat the brakes off of them, beat them 42-7 or something. Not this Harville. This Harville is going to have issue. And that's who do I want out of this game this year? Neither. Neither.
Coach Mo, yes, the Carlos Holmes is the new head coach at West Jeff. All right, we're gonna move on to the proper name of the jamboree, the Falcon Law Firm Jamboree, which was at Archbishop Shaw. And we're gonna start with the first game. Brother Martin taking on the John Eric Patriots. And I'm gonna say this: the John Eric Patriots we saw at this jamboree played much better than the Patriots we saw when they played Carver. Played a much better game. Now they didn't win. They lost 10-6. They had chances, especially the long pass to Darnell Quinn, wide open, who dropped the ball. And you guys can see that on my YouTube page, which you see right there, JB the Sports Guy. Go ahead and subscribe to JB the Sports Guy. Also subscribe to the Real VK Jones YouTube page. Did I say it right, VK?
Vashawn K. Jones on
You got
YouTube.
names for everything. Vashawn K. Jones on YouTube. So subscribe to both of them. But look, Eric had their chances. Brother Martin came back out in the second half, ran the ball down their throat. And Eric was gassed. But Eric stepped up the next two defensive series. And they stepped up and got two stops. And offense got the ball back, couldn't score. Brother Martin runs the clock out. They went 10-6. So Eric, better performance than what I saw in the scrimmage. Brother Martin, all I can say is to me, in my opinion, and it's early, they don't have that playmaker that they had last year in Tory Lambert. I think Jordan West and Sidney, the running back's going to be good. But right now, there isn't that playmaker that can change that game for them like Tory Lambert did last year for them. VK.
I think more than anything else for Brother Martin, I think Brother Martin is not too bad, but defensively, they got some holes. They definitely have some holes that they got to fill. Offense, Seth Dart is going to have to really carry that team early.
Darzat.
Okay. Yeah, said Darzat. He's going to have to carry them early with his experience last year, stepping up for the Crusaders, getting them to the dome, and he's going to have to really carry them early. They're going to game themselves, but they got to really lean towards their offense early because the defense, they have some holes. Like I tell you, like up front they're okay. Everything else, I don't know. But John Eric did play a much better game. Their defense kept them in the ball game, and I think Eric's defense is going to be the strength of their team right now. Offensively, they got a chance to do well, but they got to really make plays. Eric Cheneau looked very good out there. It was just the fact the receivers was dropping the football. They got to make plays to help Eric Cheneau, but they're going to have to mix the playbook too. They're going to have to run it a bit too. You know what I'm saying? Get a good mix in the offense that it can open up the deep pass. It can open up the slant. It can open up a lot of things. Eric has potential to be a very dangerous team.
GP.
As an Eric alum, I am extremely frustrated at what I'm about to say. This is a team laden with 4-year starters. 4! Brother Martin is replacing a lot of alpha dogs, Tory Lambert being one, but they're replacing other guys as well that were very integral to where they got last year into the Division I Select State title game. Everett should have smoked them. With the experience they had coming back, and Chanot, quite honestly, is a better quarterback than Royal Falgu. I mean, Falgu, was all right for them, but I didn't see what everybody else saw, at least in my eyes. But as far as the game Friday night drops, 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 that's inexcusable. Coleman dropped one. O'Quinn dropped one wide open. Everett should have won this game and won it going away. And I'm not being biased when I say it because their defense gave them every chance, but their offense failed them in situations because they could not complete catches. And you are not going to beat good football teams when you drop the ball. Aaron dropped too many balls on Friday night, and it cost them 10-6. They're going to have to they're going to have to execute better against Covington. They can win that game, but Jared, it's all about execution. They just need to execute. And normally, and the last thing I'll say, team laden with 4-year starters, that's state championship potential. Aaron's got to realize that. I'm not saying they are, but they're going to have to elevate and fast.
Now we move to the main event game, which could have been the best jamboree game of the whole weekend, because this was a good one. St. Augustine came to play Archbishop Shaw. And man, you talk about an old school St. Archbishop Shaw battle. I mean, we had hitting, we had everything. You call it, even bad calls on both sides of the field. Bad calls. We had it all, man. We had it all. And I'm going to start with St. Aug did win 13-9 after being down most of the game. They scored first. Shaw answered, and then Shaw got a safety, and then St. Aug scored in the middle of the second half, and Shaw almost won the game on the last possession on their own 20. St. Aug defense held strong. I want to start off with the Eagles. I was very impressed with the Eagles. I didn't care if Shaw won. I didn't care if Shaw lost. I wanted to see how would Shaw fare against this big O-line and this big D-line from St. Aug. How would Shaw fare against some good DBs and Georgia Tech commit Kristen Pritchett. You got I think his name is Fred Thomas, but I know his name is Fred, the cornerback. You got a defensive end that's like 6'6". I want to see how Shaw was going to fare against these guys. And Shaw stood toe to toe with St. Aug the whole game. And that let me know that, hey, we're going to be great this year, for sure. We're going to be great because St. Aug is talented. Fred Lewis, thank you, New Orleans Dolphins 7-on-7. Fred Lewis, that's his name. Shaw's going to be a great team this year. Now, Mason Wilson is Shaw's quarterback. And to me, Mason Wilson, who transferred from St. Aug to Archbishop Shaw, Mason Wilson needs to play smarter. If he gets in trouble, he needs to throw the ball away. I feel like Mason was trying to make too many plays, trying to be a hero too many times. Ain't gonna happen all the time, buddy. Learn to throw the ball away. He took too many hits that game and had to come out twice due to injury. Had to come out twice. He came back, but he came out twice. Too many hits. So we got to be smarter. I want him, even when he's running the ball, I want him to step out of bounds. He likes to try to duck down and hit with the shoulder, try to run over somebody. No, you're our quarterback. Step out of bounds. Avoid those hits. Now, let's get to the Purple Knights. Their fan base was heavily upset. Heavily. There's a lot of talk, a lot of hype about the St. Augustine Purple Knights. And as of right now, apparently, they're not living up to it. They're not. My opinion, I thought St. Augustine would have gave us a better showing than what I saw, due to all the talk. That's all I'm saying. If I were to say St. Augustine is a state championship team right now, I would say no. Can it happen? Yes, it can happen. They can get better. They can get better. They can get better. But they gotta start now. They gotta start now. It's too much talent on that team. That is a heavy, heavy talented team. That should be in that dome this year. That's no question about it. VK, I know you agree with me. They should be in the dome with all that talent. I expect St. Aug to get better. Game by game by game. And it's going to start this week. Saturday night against McDonough 35. I think they start getting better. Kristen Pritchett is at safety. He's never played safety. So he is learning this position on the go. He's played nickelback for St. Aug for these past years. When you get pushed to the back at free safety or strong, you got more responsibilities. So he is struggling a little bit. But once he finally figures it out and understands his responsibilities, guess what? He's going to know, and he's going to be a difference maker. DJ13 said they ain't getting to the dome with no quarterback. I think Dawson is a good quarterback. I think he's okay. I think he's good. I think with the talent around him, it can happen. VK, I'm going to let you go.
All right. I heard you guys on Friday on 1008 Sports. Shout out to 1008 Sports. They'll be coming on at 10 o'clock tonight on Instagram. And I hear about the St. Aug thing. I hear all this stuff. I hear all this other
I didn't know that, Mo. I didn't know that.
And all that stuff. It's unbelievable. But first of all, before I break down St. Aug, I'm gonna give Shaw a lot of credit. Shaw came to play. Shaw shocked me more than anything else offensively because they moved the ball with fruition and they did it very, very well.
Should have ran Jasper Parker more.
And this is what I told this to David DK Kinsey at the ball game. The same situation last season with his son. They're gonna have to do the same early with Jasper Parker offensively to take pressure off of Mason Wilson because he has a potential to be really, really good, but he's a risk taker. It's a risk taker, baby, and that's big there. Now. Oh, I know it's rivalry week, Coach Mo. I know, brother. But let me get to the Purple Knights. All this stuff here is a pure overreaction. We expect a better performance from St. Aug. Shaw is a better team this year, ladies and gentlemen.
I told people.
Shaw's a better team. But then on top of that, here's another thing. The most important thing to a team that you must have if you're going to have a chance to win a state championship. Character. Dawson Simmons gets knocked out. Who comes in? Sean Coulon. He throws a big touchdown pass for the winner. That's character, especially when you do it on the road. That is something that's going to be needed down the line for the Purple Knights. And I have to come with perspective today with that. Purple Knight fans, calm your butts down. You do this every year, and I'm tired of it. It's time for the change, and it's going to happen. It's not going to be easy against 35 this week. It is not, because it's a good 35 team they're playing. Every game on the schedule for St. Aug is not going to be easy. Not even Landry. We're not going to even overlook them. Plain and simple, it ain't just about the performance. It's about who wins on the scoreboard. Who wins when the triple zeros come up at the end of the game. That's what it's all about. 35, get ready. We're going to have a great one Saturday. I'm not underestimating you guys at all. Them Ryan Eagles going to be coming. This might be the best 35 St. Aug game we going to see in a long time. But at the same time, we down to 35. St. Aug started the run with Shaw. 35, you next. Welcome to the 2600 Penitentiary.
Coach,
it starts Saturday.
Coach Mo said the 2600 Cowboys.
Of course. Of course. All I know, when St. Aug and the biggest hump they got to get over is the semifinals. They get there, they got to win it. They win that, get to the dome. All y'all gonna have egg on your face.
Coach Hankton says he needs the live stream for that game. I don't know if Crescent City or who. I don't know who has it. Hopefully we find out Coach Hankton and we'll let you know. New Orleans Dolphins says he'll be live on the YouTube channel. What's the YouTube channel if you're going live with it, man? But go ahead, GP. What are your thoughts?
With a narrative change, Shaw would have won. You seem to being diplomatic and courteous.
Let me stop you 1 second because I was talking to another St. Aug alum, and that's BJ with 1008, and he said He said if St. Aug lose this game to Shaw, it's gonna be real bad for St. Aug. He did say that. He said for Shaw, it'll be great, but if St. Aug was to lose that game, he said we talking real bad for St. Aug, but it didn't happen. Go ahead, GP.
No, it didn't. And St. Augustine, to their credit, was able to will themselves to a W. I think this is a testament to what Shaw can be. There's some missing spots on that team that need to be corrected. They need to execute a little better. You mentioned Mason Wilson. Did he try to do too much?
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe. Instead of trusting his reads and trusting his personnel, he needs to learn that. You know what? That's what you get the jamborees out the way for. You got a very rugged St. Charles defense coming to you Friday night, and it's going to be a tough ask, but it's doable. With that said, Friday night I said this on 10:08 with you, Jared, if you remember. Oh wow, I'm just yes, indeed, Coach Mo. Yes, indeed. That's whack. But
Coach Moore is talking about.
yeah, that's loose lips, VK. That's what that is, loose lips. But I said this
Mhm.
Friday night, and I stand by it tonight, Tuesday, August 29th, 2023. St. Augustine's alumnus, not everyone, but a majority of them that go running their mouth on Instagram, Facebook, and whatever social media you entail, y'all remind me of the freaking Dallas Cowboy fans. We go get it this year, and when the result doesn't come out like you want it, you start crying and you start boo-hooing, talking about, oh, get rid of Nick, get rid of Nick. That's all y'all do. Man, who do y'all want? Moses? I mean, goodness gracious. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, well, I'm reading Coach Hankton's comment about the,
I'm
I
laughing
get
at
that.
you, GP. I'm laughing at
He's,
you. Go ahead, man.
he's right about his statement, though, Coach Hankton. He's right because it's a jamboree. Put that in perspective. But sometimes, Coach, jamborees portend what a team could potentially be or not be. Saint Augustine ain't winning the Catholic League. Anybody who entertains that fantasy, I got a window wide open. I just sprayed WD-40 on it. The rust is out. Y'all
What's
want
up,
some?
Cantina?
Come get some.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, George, and I'm gonna correct. I see you came on 10:08 talking about, oh, Nick wants VK wants Nick out of there. No,
No, I did not
that's
say
wrong.
that.
That's
I did not say that.
oh, what you say?
I,
Oh, you said the people.
I said
Yeah, he didn't say
the
that.
alumni. No, I did not say me or you. No, I said the
He didn't say
Oh,
the
alumnus.
okay,
people.
okay. The alumnus, of course, the alumnus want him out of there.
Who do you?
It's a
Okay, I asked them this, VK. Ask the alumni of St. Augustine. Who do they want? If they don't want Nick, talk to me. Who y'all gonna get?
man, man. Let me tell you something. These people are so
They're
delusional.
tripping.
Look, I went on 10:08 last year
Hmm.
at the St. Aug beat Zachary, and I went completely off. And I said, you're gonna leave a man alone, let him do the job. He already got support from administration at St. Aug.
Hmm.
So leave him alone. People don't understand. Keep talking about this purple night tradition. Let me tell you something. An outsider turn around your program. David Johnson, thank you very much. Stop with this. It's about who can do the job best. This is the most consistent the Purple Knights has
Hmm.
been in a while. So I need you to be patient. Continue with that energy. You come with that energy. When Nick Foster proved you wrong, thank you, Coach Mo. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's respect. That's big time
I
respect.
have a question for both of
So
y'all.
yes.
Who do you want out of this game going into the regular season? As far as which team do you see has the greater ceiling? And both of you answered. Both of you, I mean, Jared, you went to Shaw, VK, Og. Who do you want objectively out of this game going into the season? And which team do you feel like has a higher ceiling?
That's a tough one. Because that Catholic League is gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough. To be honest with
Yes, it
you,
is.
but I feel great with Shaw. As long as Mason Wilson can correct those mistakes and be smarter, I feel so great with Shaw. Like I feel better with Shaw this year than I felt last year. I feel great with Shaw. St. Aug, on the other hand, if it wasn't a Catholic League, I might say St. Aug, but that Catholic League with Carr and Curtis is gonna be tough. VK.
It's a tough league. It's a tough league. I have high respect for John Curtis to possibly win that Catholic League and the battle between Carr and Carr and St. Aug for that second place finish. But at the same time, I think it's still a great. People got to understand character means a lot. And you have to think about this. This is a big, regardless, is a jamboree. When you win like that on the road, that's big because it was tough for St. Aug to win road playoff games. And recently, in the last maybe almost 10 years, St. Aug has won playoff games on the road. They're not intimidated no more to play on the road. And you're gonna need some games like that when you're gonna have to step up when it's time. So I'm just saying, I like what St. Aug can do. Some people say it's not high. It's whatever, man. It's okay. When these boys make the dome, I don't want keep the same energy, Aug alumni. Keep the same energy when they make the dome. I don't hear a thing. When them boys make the dome, I don't want to hear the all alumni say nothing. Yeah, I'm Aug alumni, but I'm real enough because that's my brother you're talking about.
Nick Foster.
That is my brother. That is my brother. And you are going to quit and let him do what he got to do. Let me tell you something. It's going to be a tough year. It's tough. But I'm telling you, there's so many stories in these last 10 years. Let me tell you something now. St. James, Landry Walker, East Jefferson. What those three teams were like and they finally win one, that means St. Aug's got to get up there. It's got to happen.
All right. Let's talk about the Saturday Jamborees. Let's go with 35 first against Landry. And supposedly the game got suspended after a 6-0 lead from 35. And what I saw on YouTube, 35 was able to move the ball easily on Landry. And like I said, I think Landry's going to struggle this year. But 35 was able to move the ball on Landry. Landry couldn't move the ball on 35 at all. And I know DJ13 was there. He could probably back me up on this from what I saw. But your thoughts, VK, on that first game? That was at Joe Keller Stadium.
It was a lightning delay. That's the reason why they decided to go ahead and move on from it, because it was lightning like at halftime. It kept on going with it. And it was almost going into the second game. So they had to move on from there. But 35, what I was hearing and looking at some of the highlights, I mean, they looked it pretty good. They looked it real good. And I'll tell you, it's going to be an interesting week against the Purple Knights. They're gonna be ready to go. I like what 35 is bringing.
George Peppers, any thoughts about 35 against Landry in the Jamboree?
I mean, 35 only got 6 points in that game.
Well, it got canceled
First
early
half.
because of lightning. They
That's
were
right.
driving when they stopped it. Yeah.
I got you. Well, okay, so Mother Nature played a big factor in that. That being said, there's DJ. I'm guessing he's talking about 35.
No, he's saying that they didn't want 35 out there in St. John Parish. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, because that jamboree got moved to Keller. That's right.
Yeah.
I don't know who I want to. I mean, I would imagine 35 going to have to play a lot better to beat St. Augustine this week than they did last. To be fair, I mean, let's be real. Landry lost 21 starters and their head coach. That's asking a ton to get that team to be into the competition and be competitive. I would want 35 BK out of this game, and I know we'll break this game down tomorrow, the 35 all game, but I think the Run Eagles need to show out a lot better. I don't want the bands to be the story. I want the game to be the story.
I think the game will be the story. Don't worry. The game will be the story. This has been one of the most better rivalries in the past 15 years. It has been the most. It used to be like that a long time ago, George, but it's been a much better rivalry in the last few years. So trust me, I'm real happy that this thing is really getting with this rivalry getting where it needs to be, and it's more personal than anything else, especially when you got Frank Daggs as the head coach at McDonald 35, a former Purple Knight, my former teammate, and it's amazing what he's doing and what he's trying to do to maintain the program that was inherited by the legend Wayne Reese. So but I tell you, I think 35 is going to be ready regardless.
Let me answer Coach Hankton's question. So, Coach Hankton, so we have a jamboree at Tag normally every year. Carr, Easton, 35, Kennedy on the main ones that's in this jamboree. So last year we had some disturbances during the last game. A bunch of fights broke out, and supposedly somebody had a gun. But this year, NOPD said they were not going out there for the jamboree. And plus NOPD's also they have a shortage, but they were not going out there, and I don't blame them. So it got moved to East St. John at Joe Keller Stadium. Now, second game was Carr versus Kennedy. Carr versus Kennedy, and look, I don't want to disrespect Kennedy at all, but I said I think they're getting a tough matchup that they're not going to see in their schedules until maybe later down the line if they got to play a St. Thomas More, maybe Lafayette Christian, something like that. But man, Carr jumped on them 21-0 like that. Now, I'm going to say this. A lot of people didn't a lot of people got on BB for getting burnt. Now, I'm going to say this. You watch on Instagram, that angle, it looked like he's beat a little bit and he caught up. You watch the angle on YouTube, BB is right there the whole time. And he looks back and he just misses that ball by that much. There's the ball. That's where he missed it. Man-child Teron Francis catches it with one hand for a touchdown on BB. Falls on BB and ripped the helmet off also at the same time. Cornerbacks get beat. It happens. BB was in good position. He just missed the tip. It happens. But Carr jumped out early, 21-0. Kennedy couldn't move the ball. They had trouble. And when they scored, it was on Carr's second team defense. So, my eyes for Coach Elfage and his crew, that's a good test. You played a tough team. You didn't win, but guess what? This can make you better, and you see what you got to work on to become better. So, yeah, Coach Mo, it was good coverage. It was. Yes, it was. So, shout out to Coach Elfage and his crew to playing a tougher competition. They need it. VK.
Well, looking at it like you were saying that Kennedy, pretty much is gonna be not playing anybody tough like Carr, and it's a good thing they did play Carr. You know what I'm saying? Because you look
Yeah.
at their schedule. I'm gonna say this: they got some tough ones a little early. Two out of the. You have to think about this. They got 3 straight tough ones after week 1.
What do you
They
got?
gotta go to Terrebonne, which Terrebonne is very improved and played an outstanding game against Edie White. They came up short, but they played outstanding. Then they gotta go, and then they gotta go to Saint Amand and try to get that win. I'm gonna say this: I don't care what anybody say. Saint Amand's not a gimme. They can win it, but Saint Amand's not a gimme. And then they go back home. They play Carver, a very improved Carver team. And get this, Leonard Elfage is 0-2 against his alma mater.
They didn't play last year?
They played a couple years ago.
Okay.
They played a couple of years ago. And talking with Coach Elfage, he said he is 0-2 against his alma mater.
That can be a tough one.
And Carver is a tough team. So the first game, it name your score who they play against in the first game, because it's LW Higgins. LW Higgins first game. Name your score.
47-0.
Exactly. So the next 3 weeks is going to be really tough, and it's going to tell their character. I know they got to play Live Oak. I don't know if Live Oak is as strong as it was last year. Wasn't it strong?
We got Coach Stray in the building. He's a coach for Kennedy. Coach Stray.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll be out there, Coach Trey, week 2 against Terrebonne. We'll be there for the
that's
game
right.
of the week.
We calling it week 2 game in Terrebonne. Terrebonne
And
versus Kennedy.
we'll be there for the Carver game as well.
There you go.
So we got you, Coach. But they got a tough early tilt, and I think that's gonna help them down the line going against the ED White and all them this time. Because that's the thing this year that's benefiting Kennedy. That some of these teams are a little better this year. So that's going to help the Kennedy Cougars in the power rankings, and it's going to help them down the line when they take on teams like ED White and all them other teams to have a chance to maybe get to the dome. But it's going to be tough on them. But if they can get through that schedule and show some character, they are going to be a very dangerous team.
GP.
George,
you there?
George, you still with us?
George Peppers.
George. Now to Edna Carr, not surprising what they did. Edna Carr just, showing how good they are, and they're gonna be contenders in the Cat League. It's just plain and simple. And they don't run from anybody. Not at all.
So while we work to get George Peppers back, I don't know what happened, but we thank y'all for tuning in. Subscribe to the YouTube page, JB Sports Guy. Subscribe to VK Jones one for Sean K. Jones. Also Instagram, the Hash It Out Show. Facebook, the Hash It Out Show. So subscribe to all those. I don't know, George. What the hell? Anyway, moving on.
George.
Moving on to the last game, Warren Easton versus East St. John, and Warren Easton showing their mantle. Oh yeah, we can. No, DJ 13, I wasn't leaving. Just gotta say more stuff now since we have sponsors. I gotta do this now. But we getting to Easton, okay, and East St. John and Easton showing their mantle, showing their toughness. I said Easton would dominate, and they did. And Fred could have ran for 200 yards if he wanted to. It didn't happen. But a lot of people talking about the Kai Joseph's touchdown over Wallace Foster. Look, guys, the best get beaten at times also. The mistake Wallace made on the sluggo. The mistake he made. When the Kai Joseph ran the slant, Wallace was on him, and he looked back at the cornerback. Not the cornerback, the quarterback. And when the quarterback threw the ball, and when Wallace saw the trajectory of the ball, and he turned around and saw that the car ran straight, he slipped, he fell, he was already behind, nothing he could do. It was a mistake that he made. Got to keep your eyes on the receiver until they look back at the ball. And apparently on that sluggo, the car didn't look back, and Wallace just thought, oh, it's a slant, I'm about to jump it. And he got beat. So he'll learn from it. Trust me, he'll learn from it. But other than that, Warren Easton was dominant. DK.
Yeah, Warren Easton was just all day, every day. Their intensity is just continue to go up and up, each week, and I think it's a sign, like I said, they're going to bring a lot of intensity. And as long as Coach Jerry Phillips, and he just celebrated a birthday this week, shout out to him. Now, the thing is, if you can keep his team, like you keep them fired up, but keep them a little composed, but not just that. Make sure that they are focused to the goal. Make sure that he focused to the goal more than anything else. Now, Coach Mo, you make a great point.
Yep.
And that's exactly what I was thinking. Me and Jared talked about that. I really think that Foster's not 100%.
Me too.
I think Foster's maybe about 80, 85 more than anything else. But I think, to be honest, I think Jerry Phillips might have to make an adjustment. I think they need to put Wallace not at corner, but maybe put him in one of the safeties or nickel, so he can try to make plays more than anything else. Because, looking back at the quarterback,
if they make that move, can the
no.
other corners be able to stick these receivers? Because Wallace Foster 80% may be better than the other corners 100.
Probably so, but that's where practice comes in. That's where practice comes in. If Easton can find that guy at practice, or he put him in a game that this dude can work, maybe that he can be replaced. That maybe that they can put where Wallace is and put Wallace somewhere else. So they're gonna have to find that guy. And New Orleans Dolphins said he was at the Nick. Whoa.
I don't know that play there where he got beat. He
That,
was at right corner, and I got the video from someone in the stands on YouTube. He was at right corner. He got beat on that one.
okay. So I think it'd be better for him to be a nickel or one of the safeties, but they're gonna have to find that guy. They're gonna have to find that guy that they can get his position and put Wallace somewhere, because he could be a blitzer or he could be that guy that will check things at the quarterback and help out in the secondary. You know what I'm saying? Because it's gonna take a while for him to get 100%.
I saw Wallace during track season, and he was still walking with a limp. So ACLs, they take a while to get it back to 100%. So yeah, it's been over a year since he hurt himself. He got hurt in the scrimmage last year, so it's just out a year now. So eventually, it's gonna come. It's gonna be 100%.
I think we got George.
George, are you back? Speak, George. I hear you.
George?
Speak. George.
Uh-oh. Oh, goodness.
George, you okay? You okay, George?
You all right, George? He might have literally fell
We'll check on him
asleep.
after the show.
Oh,
but look,
goodness. We'll check on that show.
Look, guys, we thank you all for tuning in tonight. Thank you all. We truly appreciate it. We are back tomorrow night at 8 o'clock p.m. We're going to have Loud Feet joining us. For my good friend George Peppers, for VK Jones. Look, don't go nowhere right quick. I got to play these commercials. I want y'all to see the commercials since y'all like them so much. I'm going to play these commercials right quick. Y'all watch it, and we'll be out, okay? Until then, I want all y'all.
Appreciate y'all.
To take care.
Tune in tomorrow night, man.
Tomorrow night.
Tune in tomorrow night. Tomorrow night we're gonna have prep picks.
Yes, the picks.
And also we'll preview a little college football as well. So especially statewide. So
we'll talk
tune
about
in tomorrow night. We're gonna go on.
We'll mention LSU and Tulane. The ranked teams. We'll mention them, but we're gonna picks. Loud Feet, little LSU, little Tulane, and do our picks. We got a whole jam-packed show tomorrow, everybody. For VK with GP, y'all watch these commercials. I'm JB, sports guy. We thank y'all so much. We'll see y'all tomorrow. The Hash It Out Show is brought to you by Barretto Home Solutions, Bayou Audio and Video, Hotworks on the North Shore, JFK Martial Arts in Mandeville and Covington, Black Hawk Hauling, Lil Dizzy's Cafe, Wags Food and Culture, Moe's Pizza. Thank you for watching the Hash It Out Show. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Thank you.